Today, we're talking about backpacking with cats. No, not just carrying your cat in a backpack carrier, but actually taking overnight backpacking trips. Think like a combo between camping and hiking. While this is a more advanced kind of cat adventure, who knows? Your cat might surprise you. Plus, I guarantee you'll learn something new while listening. My special guest today is Kaylin Mayer from Always Choose Happy. She has an adventure cat named Maxine, or Max for short. Kaylin runs a brand that celebrates outdoor adventure, empowerment, and taking your cat safely outside. Her and adventure cat Max go on all sorts of journeys, including hiking, camping, and backpacking, often covering more than 30 miles of rugged terrain. She's also a weekend warrior who works a full-time remote job Monday through Friday and does part-time van life on the weekends when she's not backpacking in the backcountry. Her goal is to inspire people to get outside, whether or not they have someone to join them or to take their cat with. All right, Kaylin.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, you got
Hi. And this is Adventure Cat Max, who doesn't want to be on camera naturally.
That's okay. Hi, Max.
Oh, hi. Say hi, Max.
I'm glad she at least made an appearance.
Me too. Well, thank you so much for having us on your show. We are so excited to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on here. You know, I've followed you for ages on Instagram, and though I have never gone backpacking with my cats before, I enjoy watching your videos. I always feel, I don't know, I mean, it's aptly, your account is aptly named, Always Choose Happy, because your content is always so positive and uplifting and happy, and you and Max always look like you're having such a good time. And I enjoy outdoor adventures with my cats, and so I'm really excited to hear more about backpacking, and maybe one day I'll give it a try.
I would love that, and I would love to help you go on your first trip. That would be so exciting.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, some people who are watching with us tonight, or listening to the podcast or whatever on a replay will feel inspired as well. But let's kick things off. Can you tell us about Max? And do you have any other pets? Is it just Max or?
It's just Max.
Okay.
Yes. According to my Google searches, she is a Lynx Point Siamese, about almost 3.5 years old. And I got her when she was 4 weeks and just 1 pound. So she was literally like the size of my hand and
So
teeny,
little.
teeny, tiny.
Yeah.
It was such a gift that the universe dropped her off at my doorstep. Essentially, it was like the cat distribution system found me, and my life had forever changed from that point forward.
Yes.
Yes. And, you know, when Maxine came into my life, I really wanted her to adopt my very active lifestyle and not the other way around. And so I actually trained really early on. So from 6 weeks onward, really, which most people don't get cats at that age. So I know that's not very normal, but she was found in a shed and I rescued her. And so that's the age I was able to start her with. But
Yeah.
from very early on, I started Little Spoon sleep training, as well as teaching her how to fist bump or going on city walks or true hiking trails to regular car rides, which, by the way, is the arguably most important thing to do as soon as you get a cat if you want to train them to be an adventure cat, and also socializing them with other cats and other dogs as often as possible. Like, I was that weird gal on the street in San Francisco that I would be walking my cat and I would see people walking their dogs, like a very normal thing. And I'd be like, can my cat smell your dog? But that's just how you get used to socialization and how you normalize it and how you make them not mortal enemies anymore. And so you have to start somewhere. And of course, like, rambunctious dogs are never a great idea for a cat. But if the dog is chill and calm, having them be able to approach each other and sniff each other actually really helps the socialization in the long run. And let's see, what else did I do? In any case, I would say that all of this training that I've done for the past 3 years has taken an incredible amount of patience to get to the point where we are now. But training her to go on all of these adventures with me has been 100% worth it. And actually, at 6 months, I took her on her first 25-mile backpacking trip. And
Oh my gosh.
I know, I'm crazy. I had scoured the internet to try to find the best gear that I would need for Max, or like just the gear in general that I would need for her to take her on a trip like that. And I searched relentlessly to find the perfect adventure cat leash that I could wear across my body and also tie to trees while I set up camp and like go get water and that sort of thing, which I thought was an impossible task until I found you
Oh,
and your handcrafted leashes literally designed for adventure cats. Like your leash came with us on that first backpacking trips and every backpacking trip since. So I just want to give you a huge shout out for creating the perfect adventure cat leash for the beginner to the hardcore. So thank you.
well, thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. She's not being paid to say this, people.
I'm really not. It's true. It's just facts.
Well, that's so fun. I love hearing from people who use my leashes. You know, I feel like, you know, I'm getting to be a part of your adventures all over the world.
Yes, definitely.
That's awesome. Okay, so I love everything that you said. I think I agree with it all too. You know, the socialization, the training is also important and it never stops. You know, it's always a work in progress. We're always you know, working with our cats to get them comfortable in different situations. And you and Max have, I mean, you guys are amazing, incredible. I've seen the videos of her meeting dogs and cats and stuff on the trail, and she's always just so chill about it. And I know that can be a really big obstacle for people. I know it's something that I struggle with my cat Kylo Ren. He loves to go hiking, he loves to do all these things, but when he sees strangers and dogs and stuff like that, he like clams up. And so we're, you know, it's a work in progress. We're still working on that, and you know, just keeping at it and doing the socialization, all of that, it helps so much. So
Yes, repetition and patience forever. Like it
yeah.
never ends. Just like keep doing it, because I wouldn't have gotten to the point where I am with Max if I would have stopped and gave up because she clammed up at every time she saw a dog or a human, which she did, by the way, for the first like year and a half. Every single time I would take her on a hiking trail and she would see a human, she would stop and wait until they were completely out of sight. And I'm like, we can't do this all the time. We gotta figure this out. But fast forward a couple years later, she no longer does that, and she'll like walk up right up to a dog, or sometimes she'll rub her head up against a human's leg. You know, sometimes she doesn't want to talk to the human at all, and maybe she'll clam up and jump into my backpack, and that happens too. But the more we expose them, the more we increase their confidence. And so I would just recommend to everybody that repetition and patience goes a long way.
Yeah, I love that because I know, you know, I hear from people a lot when you know, I'm out with my cat, people say, "Oh, I tried to take my cat out once and they didn't like it." And that
Yeah.
was it. It's like, well, you can't just try it once. You
Yeah.
have to try it. That goes with all the things, whether you're harness training or
Yeah,
trying to get your cat used to strangers or dogs or whatever it is that you're working on. It's
totally.
not a one and done thing. It's a process. And so it's
Mhm.
encouraging to know that, you know, you and Max struggled with that too for a while before she got comfortable. And then
Mhm.
it finally happened.
It does. Yeah. And, you know, she still gets scared on some trips, you know, and some trips are better than other trips. And it just kind of depends. But it's just the frequent reminder that cats are not dogs and it's an entirely different experience.
Mm-hmm.
And to drink a lot of the patience Kool-Aid, that will help. Patience will help tremendously in the process.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I like how you mentioned that sometimes Max does get nervous and gets in the backpack, and when that happens, you let that happen. I think that's important to remember too, is we have to listen to our cats, you know, just like us. Some days we might be in a social mood and some days we may feel a little, you know, not social,
Right.
and our cats have those days too, and it's important to let them have those days and
Yeah.
not force it on them.
Yes, exactly. Like there are some days I want to go full hermit and I don't want to see anybody at all, you know, and I want to
Yeah.
stay inside and not turn on the lights and I don't want anyone to see me or talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, cats have the same thing. And so do dogs, I'm sure. But, you know, it's just important to watch their cues and know that we all have our days and that's okay. But again, to keep getting out there, because every experience is still going to be an experience, and it's something that you share with your cat, and ultimately it like creates a stronger bond between you two. I'm sure you've seen that by taking your cat out for 8 years, that it's just creates a stronger bond. And that, I mean, what cat parent doesn't want that, you know?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, well, getting into the backpacking side of things, because that's kind of you and Max's thing. Can you tell us a little bit about what is backpacking? I know people go hiking, people go camping. Um, for those who might not be familiar with the concept of backpacking, what is the difference between those hiking, camping, backpacking?
Yes, it is kind of nuanced between each. So that's a fair question. But first, let's back up, because I think that there is another category that we should mention here, which is taking your cat for a walkie. And a walkie can be anything as casual as going outside your own house, exploring the backyard, the front yard, going for a neighborhood walk around the block, or a stroll in a park. And so a walkie is so great for when your cat wants to explore or you want to help build their confidence outdoors, but you're not necessarily ready to start Googling how much food does a cat need on a through hike. But also, don't feel like you need to take your cat on big hikes or camping trips. Like, if that's not your thing or your cat's thing, that's okay. Like, it's okay if you want to take your cat for a walkie and that's all you're ever going to do. And by the way, you can still tell people that you have an adventure cat, even if that's all you ever do. Like, that still counts.
Yes.
Um, Plus, simple walkies are just such a great way to like help get your cat physically stimulated and mentally stimulated, and also can really help with those unwanted behaviors that you see indoors, like scratching furniture because they're bored. Getting them outside even a little bit really helps with that. Like, ever since I have trained Max to become an adventure cat, she no longer necessarily scratches furniture. I'm sorry, someone just knocked on my door. I'm so sorry. So sorry. But she doesn't really scratch on furniture anymore, which is really great because she is physically active and stimulated by going outside no matter the trip. And so I would recommend to everybody, like, it's okay to just get outside, even if you're not doing something super hardcore. It's also just so fun to watch your cat stare at a rock or a blade of grass like it's holding the meaning of life. So
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
that is so true. I mean, I love taking my cats hiking, but I will say like 90% of what we do is just going and walking around the backyard.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's so fun.
It's so fun. It
Yeah.
helps you just slow down and appreciate all that is to offer. And I think just going outside with your cat, no matter the scenario, is always going to be a good thing. So do
Yes,
that. I will say,
absolutely.
so that's walking. So day hiking is like a level up from that, right? Like, a day hike for us can usually be anywhere from like 2 to 16 miles a day. You're usually
Wow.
probably
16 miles.
I know. I might be crazy. I don't know. But it could be anywhere in that realm, right? It could be
Yeah.
1 mile, who knows? But
Yeah.
it's usually more in like a secluded nature trail, and you're probably putting in some miles. And you're probably going to be on the trail for a couple of hours, exploring the great outdoors. You're going to let your cat live its best life, and simultaneously, so are you going to be living your best life. Of course, your cat's going to be on a leash, so it's safe and contained and confined, and you're not going to lose your cat. But I will say, on hiking trips or just in general, the most that my cat has ever walked in a straight line has been 2 miles. And that's usually when the sun goes down or when it's dark out. And so just want to caveat that friendly reminder: cats are not dogs. And don't expect your cat to walk a 7-mile hike by your side like a dog would. Like, that's just not realistic. Your
Yes.
cat is going to want to climb trees, jump rocks, chase butterflies, maybe chase a lizard. My cat doesn't chase lizards, but that's very common. Just let them, because this is part of the fun for them. So just build enough time in your trip to count for this, because if you don't want to be stressed out, right? You don't want to be stressed out about, like, I got to complete this hike within a certain time frame, or I got to get a certain amount of steps, like miles per hour, whatever the stats are. These, like, throw those stats out the door, because training your cat to be an adventure cat requires an immense amount of patience, and those stats are no longer relevant. So just slow down.
No. And I will tell you, if you look at your stats from a hike with a cat, you're going to...
Yeah, just don't. And don't share them with people. It's not cool. Like, that's not what this is for. That's not what we're doing here. Yeah. We are enjoying the outdoors. We're staying out there as long as possible. For me, like I have never been a fast hiker just in general, even before Max. I prefer slow hiking. The goal for me for camping or backpacking or hiking or any of it is to be in nature as physically long as possible. Like I work a regular job, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And so for me I work from home. So I'm indoors all day long. Right. And so it's to get outside and stay outside and just be one with nature is the entire goal. And having a cat that also embodies that is really great. So if you're one of those people that like loves stats, maybe don't bring your cat or maybe make it a thing. I don't know, but it's just,
I was going to say, we need to make it a thing.
Maybe we should make it a thing.
Cat hiking stats.
How slow did you go?
Yes. Yeah. How long did it take you to walk that mile?
Yes. Cause that is more accurate. Or like, how high did you let your cat climb on a tree? I don't know, which by the way, I do use your 10-foot leash and I will only let Max climb a tree as far as I am willing to retrieve her, or as far as I feel comfortable with her being on that leash and she's in a safe distance away. So I'll just like caveat and add that as well. But anyways, so I guess another thing I'll say about hiking is that if it's a longer hike, expect to carry the cat. So like I said earlier, like if it's a 7-mile hike, the cat's not going to hike all 7 miles of that. So the cat maybe get tired and you're probably going to carry the cat. So expect that just for like the weight purposes for your shoulders. Also, your cat might be scared by other hikers or dogs on trail that they see, especially in the early stages. And so just know that that's okay. And that you can throw them on your shoulder or in your backpack and everything is fine and good in the world. As for camping trips are awesome because they can be anything from car camping to staying at a campground where you aren't carrying all of your gear for some number of miles to get to the campsite. You are, you can drive in and you can just park right at the spot that you're going to call home for the night and you can camp there. And so
that's how I do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great time. And I recommend it for everybody. And there's so many places that you can camp at, from campgrounds to dispersed camping, even like with car camping. When you're setting up the camp for the tent for the first time that you take a cat with you, your cat is going to be like, what in the sus is happening here? But once they get in, they will explore every cubic inch of the tent and find out that it's basically a giant cat cave for them. And once they're all snuggled in, they will get into the sleeping bag with you and all will be good in the world. At least that's true for my cat. I will also say that I did the little spoon sleep training early on, so she would be comfortable sleeping close with me in the sleeping bag. But of course, not all cats are cuddly like that. And that's okay too. Car camping is great for, you can like bring their designated bed and put that in the tent. You could also bring like a puffer jacket or whatever and make a cozy little spot for them in the corner. If they're not going to like sleep in the sleeping bag with you, that's totally fine too. It's just important that they're going to be warm enough, especially in chillier temps. So like definitely bring a sweater. I bring a sweater with me on every single trip, no matter the situation, just because you never know if weather's going to kick in. And then once you see your cat shivering, it's not great. You want to like get them warm immediately. Yeah. And so I would just say to like, make sure you're taking care of those needs in that way. I feel like I'm going on a rampage, but I want to get to the fun part, which is backpacking. And backpacking trips are full-blown adventures where you are packing everything that you need and your cat needs for survival on your back, and you're heading deep into the backcountry. And it can be hardcore, but it is really rewarding. And you have to carry literally everything. So your tent, your sleeping bag, your sleeping pad, food, extra food for you and your cat, all of your water. You have to factor in if you're going to be by your water source and when. Also your camp stove, clothes for you and your cat, a bear box, and so on. Like it's all of the things. It's usually a lot of weight. It can be 20 to 40 pounds depending on your scenario. And so I mean, you'll feel like a badass on trail. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, it feels really cool. And depending on the length of your trek, don't be surprised if you're going to end up carrying your cat like 70% or more of the time. And the other thing I'll say about backpacking with a cat is these kind of trips are really important that you pack the pack the right way so that you create like a flat space at the very top of it. So your cat has a comfy place to sit on when they're not hiking. And then also ensuring that there's at least 5 inches of space at the very top of the backpack's walls so that they can be shielded from the elements or just people in general. Like they have like a little bit of a hidden spot, right? And also I would say another thing that's really important to bring is always make sure that you bring a rain cover for your backpack in the event that weather happens, because by the way, it always does in the mountains. It's inevitable. Every backpacking trip in the mountains I've ever gone on has rain, snowed, hailed, like every time. It's just inevitable. And so I would say there's 2 things that need to happen when that happens is 1, duck into the trees immediately. So, if it's raining or hailing, you can kind of sit under there until the storm passes. But then also if it's lightly raining and it's not really that big of a deal, I use the rain cover to cover all my gear and also Max and protect everything in her from the elements. And she doesn't mind being in there all closed in like that. And there's enough airflow to go through there so she can breathe and she's fine. And that's like not a big deal. It's not ideal for a long period of time, but it does help solve for if it is tremendously raining, you can kind of put that in and close her in and then they don't get wet, which is nice. But anyways, I will say all of that to be said, whether you are going for a walkie or you are doing a multi-day backpacking trip, it's just remember that you are living your best life and so is your cat. So no matter the trip that you do together, just get out there. Oh, and also everyone who sees you will ask, is that a cat on a leash?
Yes. And if I had a penny for every time I was asked that question, I would be a millionaire.
Same. I know. The answer is yes. And also, people are going to want to take a photo of your cat. Like that's so normal. And what I say to that is let them, because we want people to tell a friend to tell a friend. Like word of mouth helps us to get more cats on trail. And I don't know about you, but I'm trying to be on the right side of history. So I think we should just try to do what we can to get more cats outside.
Yes, I love that. That is obviously my goal with Kitty Cat Go. So
yes,
that's awesome. I love it. Okay. Wow. So recap: hiking, just regular old hike, day hiking. You're not spending the night out in the wilderness. You're just going for a walk in the woods for however many miles. Camping, driving in, setting up. Backpacking is the combination where you're hiking with all of your camping gear and then setting up camp somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Nailed it. Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay, so I was curious. I'm glad you talked about the backpack thing and how you intentionally create a flat space on the top of your backpack for Max to like hang out on when she gets tired or needs a break. Because I mean, as someone who's only gone hiking with my cats like for the day, I always carry a cat backpack carrier. And when my cat gets tired, they get in the backpack and ride. Which obviously you can't be carrying a cat backpack if you're having to carry all of your camping gear, unless you're like, I don't know, got one backpack on the front and one backpack on the back.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you mentioned that, because the very first trip that I took Max on, like her first 25-mile backpacking trip, where in the beginning I mentioned I found your leash and I brought that on that trip with us. I was in a relationship at the time, and my partner at the time carried everything. So he carried like both of our sleeping bags, both of our sleeping pads, all of the food, the tent. And I think I brought like a pound of litter with me, not a litter box, just like a pound of litter, because I was like, well, what if she doesn't know what to do, And I on that trip did do the entire 25 miles with a backpack carrier, just like the normal like pet Ami ones from Amazon.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking on that trip, it was like, this is the easiest hike of my life. Oh my God. Woo-hoo! And my partner was like, ah. And this is the worst trip of my life. It's so hot. and it's so funny. And I was looking at the photos today because I was trying to find your leash from that trip and like some photos from that. And it's so funny because he's wearing this massive Monstrosity of a pack and I'm in like my little dainty backpacker gear. And that's not a real thing. Once we figured out that we could move some of the stuff into the backpack, because at that time on that trip, Max basically just rode my shoulder the entire time. So I was able to take some of that weight off his shoulders. But now that is obviously not the recommendation. The recommendation is to use an actual backpacker's bag if you're going to go on a backpacking trip. But for day hikes, I mean, I do use that regular backpack pet carrier that I use, the same thing that I use for like airplane travel.
Yeah. Well, or maybe you hacked the system, Kaylin. Maybe the trick is to have somebody carry all the gear and you just carry the cat.
Yeah. Yes, get a pack mule. Highly recommend. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, man. Okay, just kidding. Obviously, one of the things that I really love about what you do is that you champion so much for women to get out there and not wait for somebody else, because, I know for myself, a lot of times if my husband can't go hiking with me, I've gotten better about it, but I used to be like, oh, well, if he doesn't want to go, I'm not going to go. Right. I'm not going to go by myself,
Right. We get used
and I have gotten over that and I will go out with my cats now by myself. So you don't need the pack mule, right? You can do it. You
can do it all by yourself. Exactly. But it is such a thing whenever you're in a relationship, you kind of fall into that of like, if you have someone to go with on the regular basis, then, and they can't go, you just set it out. You're like, oh, I'll just wait until you can go, and I realized becoming uncoupled from a long-term relationship that I obviously can go. I can do it all by myself and it's fine. And I truly hope that when I do get into my next relationship that I will go if they can't go, because I think that has opened up so much happiness and joy for me to just do the things I love, even by myself and just with my cat and her and I bonding together outside. And I love that you have gotten over it and that you're going by yourself. That's so great to hear. But it's like, we don't need anybody to go with us. Like we can do these things by ourselves. And especially if your cat's with you, then you're not even really alone, which is even better.
Yes. And we will touch on some of these topics later too. So we will circle back for those that are listening. We're going to hear more from Kaylin on solo women adventuring, which I am excited for. But I do have some more backpacking questions, I mean. So you talked a lot about how you prepared Max for these trips, right? You started socializing her from a young age. You taught her to like sleep snuggled up with you. You, harness trained her, did all of those things. And I'm assuming maybe you probably worked up to that first 25-mile backpacking trip, right? Or it wasn't like you woke up one day and were like, I think I'm going to take my cat for a 25-mile backpacking trip.
Right. Right. We started really small and then worked our way up to bigger trips. And we would start in the city on city hikes. And in the time I was living in San Francisco, so I used to call it city hikes because the hills in the city were so giant that it was like climbing a mountain. But, in her super young kitten phases, she didn't necessarily mind to be outside in the cities, but over time, she really does not prefer that. She gets very scared on cyclists, even to this day, does not like to hear the sound of cyclists or motorcycles or cars are not even her favorite thing. She's kind of gotten over the car thing because we live in a neighborhood now, but I would do that pretty regularly. And then I realized it's probably better to just take her on secluded nature trails. And so that's what we started doing. And I started doing that every weekend and just taking her out on a secluded, quiet trail that would have minimal people, minimum dogs, and working my way up to bigger trips. So like maybe the first was only like a couple miles. And then, I did a lot of 6 or 7 mile trips and then kind of got bigger up in the 10, 12s, 15 even. And then it was like, you know what? I think she's ready. Like, let's try this. Let's do this. And then I did, and she did great. And but I would say if anybody is just starting out, to just start with shorter trips and build up confidence and get them comfortable. And you'll know, right? Like we all know our cat more than anyone else. So just pay attention to their cues, and you'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Body language. It's important.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And something actually that you mentioned, body language, I will say that it is, I don't know if this happened with you. I would love to pick your brain, but it's fairly common that in the first, like, even year 2 of Max's life, she would run and hide every single time she'd hear the harness come out. And she like wants to go outside. Like she'd go maybe meow at the door, but like when she would hear the jingle, she would run and hide, and did not want that to be on her. And that's okay. And so I just want people to know that that's a normal thing that happens. But once they get the harness on and they go outside, they realize, oh wait, mom does know best, or dad does know best, right? And so like it's okay if they do that. It's not that they don't want to go outside. It's not that they don't want to be an adventure cat. It's just that like it's all new and it's all very scary. I will say now that Max is a little over 3 years, she does not run and hide when she hears the harness anymore. And she just lays there like a little doll and lets me put it on her. So I think it took a lot of time to get to that point, but also it's very common for that to happen. So not to get scared off by that. Did that happen to you?
Yes. Yeah, it did. And it still sometimes does. With Kylo, if we go like an extended period of time without going like on an adventure or something, and then I pull the harness out, then he'll go run and hide. But then, like you said, as soon as I get it on him and we get outside, he's like, oh, this is great.
Right.
And it always like baffled me, like, why,
Yeah.
you always love the adventure, you always have a great time. Why do you run when the harness comes out? Like I still don't really have a good answer for that. But the way that we overcame it was, I'll put the harness on him. Even when we're not going somewhere necessarily, I'll put it on him and we'll like play inside, or I'll put it on him and we'll do some clicker training. And I just always make sure we're doing positive things that he likes while he's wearing the harness, whether we're indoors or outdoors.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps that.
It does that. And to give the cat a treat immediately once they get it on, to help associate with positive behavior while it is indoors. I love what you said about like playing a game or doing clicker training, because that also helps to associate it more positively while they are indoors. But it does just take time for them to get comfortable. I feel like it's a lot like, I have a niece, and when she was like 10 years old, a couple of years ago, when we'd go for hikes, she'd complain about it. Like, probably like most 10-year-olds, I don't know, maybe not most, but like they like complain about it, but then they get to the destination and they're like, what? This is the coolest thing ever. Oh my God, I love hiking so much. And so I just feel like cats kind of embody that like 10-year-old, where they just don't know what's best for them.
So you have talked a lot about some of the gear. Obviously you need a harness and a leash and a backpack, not a regular cat carrier backpack.
Right.
Obviously food and water and all those things. What other kind of gear items do you need to go backpacking with a cat that, the ones that you might not even think about,
Yeah. Well, I do use just a regular backpacking backpack from Osprey, and I'm very jealous that they have made backpacking packs for children to sit in. I someday aspire for the world to create a similar backpack but for cats to sit in. But finding a good backpacking pack that works for you and is comfortable on your body frame, and also, like I said, to make that top flat spot so the cat can sit on, that's really important. As for food, I do bring 1.5 times the amount of food that she normally eats per day. And I do freeze-dried raw, which also happens to be the most weight efficient. I'll also bring 1 to 2 lick treats per day of the trip, which are really great for hydration. And she'll suck down anywhere, anytime, very happily. So those are really important to have treats on trail, or like whatever treats that your cat prefers. Also the collapsible food bowls for food and water. I get the kind, they're like $6 on Amazon, that have carabiner clips, and you can attach it to the outside of your backpack. You can get the ones with lids if you want, or not. I don't have lids on mine, but that makes it really easy just to always have food readily available. I also bring a 3-ounce travel size, like one of those things that you put shampoo and conditioner in if you're traveling via air. I bring one of those, and I put 3 ounces of water in it, and I use the lid to pour water into it and give Max water on the go. So that way I'm not having to pour a whole thing of water into the collapsible thing and waste any of it if she doesn't drink, because I'm sure all cat parents know, like, cats don't drink that much water. They have like maybe a couple licks. There are definitely times where my cat has been a lot thirstier than other times, and she'll drink like 3 or more of these like lids, if you will. And I just keep refilling it and keep refilling it. But it's great for on the go. I can even it's usually in my hip belt, and I can just take it right out, pour some in. And if she's right on my shoulder, I can just give her some right there. And so that's really easy.
That's genius. That's a genius
Quick
idea.
Yeah, totally. And it's just super small, and it fits like in your pocket. Like I often keep it in, if it's not in my hip belt, it's just in one of my like legging pockets, because it's just so small. And then you're not wasting water, which is really important when you're on a backpacking trip, because it depends on how many miles it is going to be into the next water source. So you have to really conserve in that way. Other things, a sweater for sure. So we mentioned the harness, but also a sweater or a puffer, depending on how cold the temperatures are going to be in. I have 2 different sweaters for Max. One is kind of like a crop top, where it's like half of her body, and the other is a full body fleece that does cover all the way till about where her tail starts. And so just think, if you're cold and you're wearing a puffer or a hat or gloves or a fleece pullover and a puffer, like, then your cat is probably cold. And so just really consider that, and the temperatures and where you're going to be at, and make sure that you are getting them the necessary clothing that they need to stay warm as well. I cannot recommend the leash that you make enough, because a long leash is important for several reasons, and one that has D-rings on it. So one, you can secure your cat to things while you set up camp, like I mentioned earlier, or like having to go get water. So you can tie your cat to a tree and wrap it around there, and then she has like 10 feet of space to roam around that area, and is safe and locked in, and it's not going anywhere, right? So like that's really important. For me, it's really important to be hands-free while I'm backpacking. I don't want to have to carry a leash. And so just being able to throw it over my body and wear it, but then she has like 5 feet of slack if she wants to jump out of the backpack, that's really great too. And so I recommend that 10 out of 10. Again, I'm not getting paid to say this. The leash I've used, if you look at any of my Instagram posts, it's facts. And so I cannot recommend it enough. And then the final thing I'd say for bringing a cat, or for bringing items for if you're bringing your cat, is some sort of like pet first aid. And I've actually been obsessed with this brand, or this bottle called VitaStem. It is basically a magical potion in a bottle, and it solves the need for 10 different ailments all in one single tube. It is very expensive, I'm not gonna lie, but it solves the need for anything. Like everything else you do not need. You just need this one bottle. Like if you get bug bites and it's itchy, solves that. If you get a open wound that's like pretty deep, it closes the wound within like 12. It's bizarre. I cannot recommend it enough. And the best part about it is that it works on humans and pets. And so it's basically, I bring that, and I bring moleskin, and I bring Band-Aids, and that's it. And that is my first aid kit.
What is that called again?
VitaStem.
VitaStem. Okay.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's not cheap, but it's worth it. Like it solves the need for everything, and it is magic in a tube. It doesn't smell great, but doesn't matter because it's magical in a tube, and I cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah,
and it works on humans and cats and animals. So like even on your dog, which is a really cool thing, because if you're in the backcountry and something happens, if they get a bite or if they cut themselves, Max often will cut herself on her head or her ears because she likes to rub her face as hard as physically possible on very sharp sticks.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, very normal. And she might like do it so hard where she might bleed. And so you can just put a little dab of that on, and then it just stops it, and it's fine. Like it closes the wound, and all is well in the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
VitaStem.
VitaStem. Yes.
Look it up.
Definitely.
Very cool. One thing that I haven't heard you mention that I'm curious about, well, you mentioned it when you took your first backpacking trip, is litter. So do you carry anything for a litter box kind of situation, or does Max go outside?
Yes. Yes. She goes outside on backpacking trips. I do not carry any litter or a litter box on any sort of backpacking trip ever. I don't even like in that very first trip, I brought like a pound of litter with me just out of nervousness, but that is not needed, I would say, for anybody who's even just starting out. I think before you go on your first backpacking trip with a cat, though, I would recommend making sure that your cat has gone to the bathroom outside so that you know that they can do it and they've like figured that out. And that's like another point of like, okay, they've done it. Now we're ready to go on a backpacking trip. I remember seeing Max do it for the first time, and she actually did it in grass, which I thought was interesting because normally what she does is find the softest ground or sand or dirt, but grass would also work too. But they basically treat it exactly like litter, as I'm sure you know, where they'll dig a hole, go, and then bury it. It's brilliant, and they probably do it better than most humans do, but it's really awesome. So I just let her take care of that all on her own. I do have a litter box in my van that just permanently lives there. It's one of those travel collapsible ones. So if I go anywhere via train or airplane, I'll bring it with me. And then it's just also, in the van in case we ever do van camping trips where she can go in it. But I will say for the first year of her life, whenever we would start going on just regular day hikes and increased the amount of miles that we were going on every time, I would bring that portable litter box in the car. And then once I got back from the hike, I would take it out of the car and put it on the ground and put her in it and see if she wanted to go. And I'd kind of just hang out around the car for like 10 to 15 minutes. And she would eventually decide to go. And so I think that also was a really great training thing of like, okay, the litter box is outside, she can go. And then eventually she just didn't even need the litter box and she did it all on her own. But I never brought that with me on a hike. So I would say they can also hold it for a really long time.
They can.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how cats are about going to the bathroom outside. I've had 4 cats who I've trained and gone hiking and all that stuff with, and out of those, only one has ever gone to the bathroom outside.
Really?
And yeah, Sophie, she does it every time. It's like the first thing she does whenever we go on a hike, and so it's like, I don't know. It's now her thing. She's like, oh, we're on a hike. It's time for me to go to the bathroom as soon as I hit the trail.
It's so funny you say that because I feel like Max now, like if we go on the out or my backyard, I swear she holds her bathroom just to go outside in the backyard. It's like, you have a litter box. What are you doing? But I think she just loves it. I mean, I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, it's hilarious to me. Like, we'll get going. We always usually start in the backpack to make sure that they're comfortable in the situation before we put them down on the ground. And like 10 steps onto the trail, she starts crying. I'm like, that's her bathroom cry.
Yep.
And we just started.
It's like they save it for the outdoors. It's so funny.
They do, but my other cats have never figured it out. And like we've gone, with Kylo, for example, he's my best hiker these days. And we've go on, I'd say the longest hike we've ever done is like 5 miles, and never once has he gone to the bathroom. He's been tent camping and all of that. I always have to bring a litter box and put it in the tent for him because he doesn't go outside. And whenever, like, if my husband and I go on a hike together, sometimes we'll bring 2 cats. Like, one of us will have Sophie, one of us will have Kylo. And whenever Sophie goes to the bathroom, we're like, Kylo, watch, look at this. This is how you do it. But he's never done it. I'm like,
interesting. Come on. That's so funny. I wonder what it is, I don't know.
I think I'm assuming that he just knows he's eventually going to be back home to his litter box. Right. Probably if we started extending the adventures, and he didn't have a litter box, I imagine he would eventually just do it,
Yeah. There are times where like this has happened even recently on some of my recent big backpacking trips where Max will sniff and dig dirt several times until she finds the perfect spot to go in.
Yes.
And so she'll like maybe sniff and maybe even like dig a little bit, and then maybe a sound will happen, and then she'll be like, okay, I can't go here. And then so she'll like walk to the next spot, and then she'll smell, and then she'll dig, and then like is not good enough either. And then she'll keep doing this. But if like I find a pretty good spot, like this happened on my recent trip in Wyoming, I will be like, no, Max, this is a great dirt spot. So I'll get a stick or I'll use my hands and I'll be like, look, you can dig. And I'll like kind of dig it out like she would. And then she'll come over and be like, oh, I can dig. And then she does, which has been really helpful. So I'm like, look, you can do it. This is the right spot for you.
Yeah,
so
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Showing them how to do it.
Yeah. I'm like, this is what we're doing, you know?
That's funny. Sophie can be like that too. She'll do her little like cry that I know. I can tell, you know, that's her bathroom cry. It just sounds a little bit different. And I'll put her on the ground and, you know, she'll do that. She'll dig. And then she's like, nope, not here. I'm like, come on.
I know. Like, what is the criteria for you? What do you need? How can I help you?
I wish they could tell us.
I do too. Me too.
Oh man. So you said your first backpacking trip with Max was, what was it, 25 miles?
Mm-hmm.
What's the longest you guys have done?
Yeah, great question. I think it's 35 miles, which was last August, actually, in Utah. Last summer was about 35 miles, and she's gone on a dozen or more 25 to 30-ish mile backpacking trips in the last 3 years, and a gazillion day hiking trips. Like every summer I try to do at least 5 backpacking trips that are usually over that 20-mile length, and she's gone on all of them. So that's been kind of fun.
How many days is that? Like, are you're not hiking all of that in one day, or is that all in one day? And
no, it's usually like a weekend. Like the 35-mile trip, I think I started on a Friday and then I ended on a Sunday. So it's usually 2 nights, 3 days.
Okay, so you like hike a little bit, set up camp, spend the night, next day pack it up, do it again, and go a little bit further.
Yep. And like my favorite is doing loop trips, so like where it's a full loop. So one of my favorite backpacking trips ever is the 4-pass loop in Aspen, which is like so majestic and magical, and I recommend everyone to do it. You have to have a permit to do it, but and you can bring pets as of now. And so I did it last year with my best friend and her dog, and me and my cat, and it's awesome because it's right behind the Maroon Bells, and it's a full loop that you can do in either direction, and it's anywhere between like 25 to 30 miles, depending on where you camp at and, you know, where you set up and what water sources you go to and that sort of thing. But that's the best because then it's just always new mountains. It's always new views. Every corner that you go on is an entirely new experience. You're not backtracking at all. So like, that's my favorite thing to do. That's also what we just completed a couple of weeks ago. We did the Cirque of the Towers in Wyoming, which was about a 25-mile loop backpacking trip. So all of the views just kept viewing and getting better every single corner, every single summit, and it was amazing. Also recommend going there as well.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I am jealous. I mean, I live in Georgia, and I mean, we have some mountains and stuff in the north part of the state, and you know, we have some great hiking trails locally too. But my husband and I took a trip out to Arizona a few years ago, and unfortunately didn't have any pets with us. But the hiking out west is just so amazing.
Yeah, Arizona is really cool too. I love that place. There's such great hiking trails there. Where at in Arizona did you go?
We did Sedona, and we did like Grand Canyon, and one other place. I can't remember what the other place was.
Yeah, but I'm sure the Grand Canyon took over. Like, yeah, that's awesome. So cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's my only trip out west that I've made. And you know, hearing about your trips, and I have a friend that lives out there and a cousin that lives out there, and I see all these amazing hikes and things you guys have. I'm like, man, I need to make it back out there again.
Yes, come to Utah. It is so beautiful and so underrated. It is like the best kept secret ever. There are
Yeah.
spectacular mountains here, and I cannot recommend it enough. But yes, the West in general is just like so much beauty to it.
Yeah, it's a really great place to live if you're into the outdoorsy stuff. There's so
Yeah.
much to do.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Um, well, we touched on this earlier in the episode, how one of your missions, in addition to encouraging people to get out with their cat, is also encouraging women to get out there on their own, right? Not to wait for a partner, boyfriend, husband, friend, whatever. Because if you do, sometimes you may be waiting forever, right? And you might miss out on these really great opportunities to enjoy nature and get out there and do things by yourself, or by yourself and with your cat. So I know for me, one of my biggest hangups before I started hiking by myself was I was like scared. Like my mom was always like, don't go anywhere by yourself. There's like going to be an axe murderer or something on the trail. And I'm like,
Yep.
I mean, you do hear those stories of bad things happening to people on a hiking trail or running or whatever. But I mean, it's very rare.
Right.
How did you get over like the fear, or maybe you didn't have the fear? I don't know. Did you have that?
Yes, I will say a couple of things here. One, I was in a long-term relationship where we did everything together, like all of the outdoor hobbies. We went backpacking on a regular basis. We went hiking on a regular basis. We had converted our SUV with a bed in the back. And so we did that regularly. And so whenever I became uncoupled and started a whole new life on my own and moved to a new state by myself, I decided I am not, just because I have nobody to go with me, I am not going to stop doing the things that I love doing. And I love backpacking more than I love anything in this world. Skiing is a very close second, but I love backpacking so much. And I'm like, I have done it so many times. I've done it with a person. And if I can do it with them, I can do it by myself. Like I am not going to not do it just because there's no one to go with me. And so I just decided that. And my parents hated it. My mom especially was not thrilled. But I was like, Mom, I need this for me. I have to do this for me because this is part of my healing process. And it's also part of discovering who I am as a solo female out in the world doing things, and it's been so great for my healing journey. So that's like the first thing I'll say. The second thing is that I firmly believe that if you can choose your thoughts, and you can literally change your entire reality. And so going on solo backpacking trips is the best place to practice that, because if you let fear-based thoughts take over, you will have a miserable experience. But if instead you can breathe and focus on choosing your thoughts, you're going to have an entirely different experience. For example, you might lay in the tent and think every single blow, every single tent flap, every single tree branch crack, every whatever you hear is like the scariest thing in the entire world. Or you can change your perspective and you can change your thoughts, and you can listen to the wind blow, and you can listen to the leaves flap in the trees. You can hear the birds chirping, you can hear the animals, and become one with nature. And so I would say that mindset is everything. And we really do have the power to shape our own reality. And being outdoors and going on solo missions is the best place to practice that, because it is a skill. It's a skill that we have to work on all the time in everyday life. And you can't have a fear-based mindset whenever you're alone out there, because it's just going to ruin everything. And so taking that positive approach, choosing the more optimistic reality, like what do you want to happen? What do you want to get out of this? Versus like taking that, scared approach is really, really, really going to help in the long run.
Yeah. And I know in my experience, it takes practice, just like anything else. Like I
Right.
remember the first couple times I went hiking by myself, every time, like I purposely, like you said, you'd like to take Max on like more secluded hiking spots. And I do the same thing. Kylo, my little hiking buddy, will go to hiking trails where we're hopefully not going to see anybody. Right. And but then, I do see someone coming down the trail, and I'm like preparing myself like to like fight, I'm going to fight this person.
Yes.
And then they get closer and closer and closer, and then you're like, oh, you just pass, and that's
right.
it.
Right. Yeah. Like you're not scary at all. Yeah. Like your mind is the scariest thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And the more that happened, the more I realized, like, oh my gosh, you're being ridiculous. Like every person I pass is just like, hi, how are you? Oh, you have a cat. Wow, okay, great.
Totally.
And then we just go on our separate ways. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, come on. Like
Right. We psych ourselves out and we make up stories in our head. And this is not even just true for going on solo hiking trips. This isn't true even in like relationships or dating or, with your family. People like make assumptions or they make up stories. And that's just, you can't do that when you're on a solo trip. You can't do that hiking. You can't do that backpacking because you'll freak yourself out. And it's so much more fun to be like, this person you're going to see, you're just going to smile and, pass each other and be like, hi, happy trails,
Yeah.
or they see that you have a cat and they're going to be like, oh my God, I want to I want to pick your brain about every single thing about how to get started. And then it's like the most fun experience. And then all of a sudden you're sharing Instagrams and you became trail besties. And so, yes, I think that's such a great story because it happens to so many people. Whereas like, even with my tripod that I bring with me, it's like a foot long baton, or is that how you say that? I think that's, it's like, it could be like a weapon, right? So like, I think goes that way, but I'm like, I don't need to think that way. Like, I feel like for the most part, I'm pretty safe out there. And it's like very unlikely that you're going to even encounter like a bear or a bear attack, for example. Always important to have a bear box and bear spray. I also always have a pocket knife with me, but an attack is so not likely. And so that's something else I would just not be scared of. Like, you are so much more likely to get in a car accident than you are to be attacked by a bear. And so I would just remind yourself that. And it's, it's not a great statistic, but it's true. It's like, that's not something that you should necessarily be scared about. You should just be excited if you do see one and take photos of it. And hopefully it's far enough away that it's safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Safety is important though too. So I was going to ask, like, what do you carry for safety? So you've got your bear spray, what is a bear box?
Bear box is what you have to keep all your food inside. And then you keep it like 100 feet away from you when you tent at night or when you're camping. And so if like a bear does come, it's not as close to your tent. But that's so you put all of the food in there, anything that's super smelly, like all of the cat food definitely goes in there. That way nothing happens, which I have had a scary encounter before. One time I was backpacking with Max and my father, his significant other, and then also mine at the time. And my dad had a bear bag with all of his food in it. And I had a bear box, which is like this PVC. I think it's like a plastic vault thing that like a bear cannot get into. But he had a bear bag, and a bear did come and it ate through the entire bear bag and all of the food in it. And that was really scary. It didn't even touch my bear box at all. It must have seen that before and been like, nope, I know I can't get into these, so I'm not even going to try. And Max was with me at that time. She was in my sleeping bag hiding in the tent, and it was like not a problem. The bear didn't come near the tent. It just wanted to eat all of the food in the bear bag, and it did. And I took videos of it and then eventually went away. And that's not great. And it's not a great thing that happened. And so I would recommend that don't use a bear bag unless you're going to do a hang. Like you do like the pulley system where you like throw it over a tree really high. That's one thing to do if you want to have a bear bag. Unfortunately, that was not what had happened on that trip. But I do recommend just the bear box. You can Google it or get one at REI. I've never had a negative experience using a bear box. So it's really important for when you do encounter wildlife, you have that to protect them and yourself.
Yeah. And you mentioned a pocket knife. What other, do you have anything else that you like, safety measures and stuff that
besides
you take?
my tripod that I could use as like a weapon if I no, that's pretty much it. I mean, I always have a headlamp because Max likes to hike at nighttime. I often find myself hiking in the dark. And so last summer I upgraded to a really strong or high lumens headlamp, which has been really great because I can see so far. And that also makes me feel safe knowing that I have that. So I'd say a really great headlamp with all of the lumens is really important.
All of the lumens.
I wish I knew the number, but I don't. But just look for all of the lumens and you'll be great.
Yeah. Awesome. Wow. Have you ever had any like other scary encounters besides the bear?
So when my best friend and I did that 4 pass loop backpacking trip in Aspen last year, there on our first night camping, there were a pack of coyotes that were throwing a party all night long, and they were making their coyote noises all night long and literally did not stop until it got light out, which obviously we did not really sleep. We were also very like scared. It was just us two girls by ourselves, and our animals, and the coyote noises kept sounding like we couldn't tell if they were getting closer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like really scary. Like we're like, are they getting closer? Like, do we? So we actually practice using the bear spray if we're going to need to use it, which was, I recommend doing that for everybody. Like buy the bear spray and also practice getting it out and how to actually hold the handle and spray it if you're in that situation. And so we did that, but it was really alarming because it was like, are they getting closer? Are they not getting closer? Our food's not that far away. We also have a cat and a dog, and it's just like, oh my gosh, but they never came. They were never by us. And whenever it got light out, they were gone. We didn't sleep all night, but we were fine and we were safe and the animals were okay. So that's the only other time I've really had a scare in the backcountry, which I feel very grateful for.
Yeah, I have a similar experience. My husband and I were camping. Have you ever used Hip Camp before?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah, so my husband and I rented a campsite off of Hip Camp one time, and it was like a single campsite. So there were no other people. It was in the middle of the woods. And it was, pretty, what's the word where the campsite doesn't have a lot of facilities and
like amenities. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we were by ourselves. We had Kylo, our cat, and it was Halloween night actually. And there were coyotes. And like you said, like we couldn't tell how close they were, and they went on and on all night long.
They do.
Yes. And we didn't sleep. Poor Kylo was like, pacing around the tent, and I'm like trying to comfort him, and he would settle in my arms for like a little bit, but then, he'd be up again, and we were all just like on edge the whole night.
Yes, I know. The sound and not being able to tell if they're getting closer or not is kind of a wild, bizarre experience.
It
like
is.
Sensory wise, you're like, what's happening? Sometimes it would feel really far away, but sometimes you're really close. And it's like, what is going on? And also, what kind of party are they having? Because they are all night long.
Yes. What are they doing?
They're wild animals throwing a party. Oh, so crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you were safe.
Yeah. Coyotes, man. They're something. Oh man. Well, Kaylin, this has been amazing. I am feeling excited to, I don't know, get out there and do more things by myself with Kylo, even just a day hike, and maybe one day I will be brave enough to try a backpacking trip.
Or even start with like a camping trip, and go to like a campground and try that out and see if you feel safe and if you feel comfortable doing that with just your cat. That could be a really great entry point, because you've gone camping before several times. You could even go, I 1,000,000% recommend going to a familiar campground that you've already camped at, that way you're already familiar with the layout, the lands. You're like, okay, I've been here before. I'm just doing it by myself. So like, that's a really great place to start.
Yeah. And that makes me think of like a piece of advice for everybody who might be doing that is to, if you are going to go by yourself, or even if you're not going by yourself, practice using your gear and setting it up before you get out there. Cause I was just thinking in my head, like if I went camping by myself, I'm used to having my husband help with the tent. We do this together. Could I do it by myself? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to practice.
Yes. You can practice in your backyard or in your living room, but also you would be surprised with like how much more capable you are than you realize, and how much stronger you are than you realize, and how braver you are than you even know. And so trust yourself that you can do hard things.
Yeah. Love that. So positive, encouraging. And definitely, if you guys don't already follow Kaylin and Max, please go do it. on Instagram. Always choose happy. Kaylin always has just fun, encouraging, funny videos. You cover the gamut of all the positive things, with whether it's getting out there as a solo female, taking your cat out, hiking, backpacking, camping, all the things. Whether or not you have aspirations of hiking and camping, her account is still fun to watch either way. So give her a follow.
And I'm always more than happy to answer any questions and provide tips based on my own experience with training Max to go everywhere with me. So if you're ready to get started or to prepare your cat for adventures or take your cat on any sort of venture, no matter how small or how big, like feel free to DM me. I answer all of my DMs on a regular basis. So I'm happy to help you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any final tips or advice for anybody on any of the things we've talked about tonight?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on your show. It means so much to be able just to share my story, my experience, and help other people to get outside with their cat and get outside in general, whether or not they have anybody to go with. And so I hope that together, like you have already been doing this for so many years, and I'm so excited that I have gotten to meet you. But I hope, together that all of us can really just forge this legacy of positive change and change behavior and get more cats on trail. And I say this often on my own Instagram, but I really do believe that together, all of us are really changing the world one human and one cat at a time. And so I just encourage everybody to take their cat outside if they want to. And it doesn't matter how big or how small the trip, you can do it. And there are so many people and resources to help you. The adventure cat community on Instagram or just, online is so positive and encouraging and helpful. And there's a million people that can help you on your journey. So I hope to see you out there.